For a better future.
For a better future.
For a better future.
In a nation built on the promise of equal opportunity, the halls of education should echo with possibility for every student. But the reality is starkly different. Every day, students embark on a journey of learning for a better future. However, their paths are not always paved with the same resources, support, and opportunities.
Ethnic inequality in Hawaii among different groups, particularly, say, Japanese Americans, Haoles, Chinese Americans is a dominant group socioeconomically, and Filipinos, Hawaiians, Samoans, and other minorities as the subordinate groups, again, socioeconomically in terms of occupation, income, education. And so I established the nature of that inequality over time and the factors that contribute to it. One of them is the lesser access to higher education of the subordinate groups. Well, Filipino Americans, Native Hawaiians, Samoans, now we can add Micronesians. These are the groups that in the public school system constitute 70% of the students, but they're very underrepresented at UH Manoa, particularly Filipino Americans, Native Hawaiians, Micronesians. And that limits their socioeconomic mobility. If they can't get into college and get a college degree, get a professional job, and enter the middle class, become homeowners. And this is a process that has been going on for decades.
Behind these visuals lie stark statistics: decreasing graduation rates, funding that perpetuate inequality, and achievement gaps that widen with each passing year. But let's not forget the faces behind the numbers.
My name is Missy Unutoa. I'm a current senior majoring in mechanical engineering.
My name is Janella, and I'm majoring in Human Development and Family Studies.
My name is Bars, and I'm currently double majoring in English and Pacific Island Studies.
I think being Samoan in STEM was kind of the biggest thing, just like being brown and being kind of like conspicuous in the crowd. It was kind of hard for me to fit in, I guess. Like there was like a set standard or way that I had to look. And so it was kind of hard for me to kind of fit in. I think just being Samoan in those spaces was like, oh my gosh, like there's no one else that looks like me, understands the cultural like values, significance, understanding like the family responsibilities was a big thing too.
If we speak about Micronesians, that's the community that's most disadvantaged among Pacific Islanders. They constitute a very large, now 5% of the public school students, 9,000 Micronesian students, or what might be called COFA, Compacts of Free Association students, those coming from the Federated States of Micronesia, Palau, and the Marshall Islands. That's more than Samoan students, Chinese American students who have been here much longer, but they're very underrepresented.
People that aren't like Pacific Islander or Filipino that go to school here, and it's like they do like outnumber us. And I'm not saying it's bad, but that just really affects me because it's like I'm surrounded by all these people that I tend to think like they're better than me. Like it's not an even playing field because they come from places that have better opportunities or are more advanced than where I come from. So I tend to feel like I'm not as good as they are. And also just, yeah, not seeing a lot of people that look like me.
These groups are underrepresented in the University of Hawaii system. If we take Filipino Americans, they're the largest group now in the public schools in Hawaii at 24%, but here at Manoa, they're 11%. And that percentage has not increased significantly over the decades. You know, I've been working on these issues since at least the late 1980s. And there have been setbacks whenever tuition is raised significantly in terms of Filipino American enrollment.
I really did struggle finding like financial support coming to college and in college right now, and that's another reason why I need to do quite a lot of jobs and internships in order to cover like my college costs.
Tuition, like just having to like stress about that and be like, can I even stay in school because of money? That's one thing that always gets me.
Recently, I looked at data that just came out from the census. So what we see clearly are these objective differences in levels of, say, median family income or percentage of college graduates among those 25 years and older, and the occupational status of different groups. And that difference has persisted, as I said, since at least the 1970s, if not longer. What we don't see is collective socioeconomic mobility. In other words, groups moving up in terms of greater access to education, better paying jobs, higher status occupations. This occurred historically in Hawaii for Japanese Americans and Chinese Americans up until the 1960s. From the 1970s, it has become much more difficult for groups now, not individuals, to experience that kind of collective mobility. For example, Filipino Americans remain a primarily working class group in Hawaii, as measured by occupation, income, education. That's not to say there aren't middle class Filipinos, but on the whole, they are still a working class group like Hawaiians, Samoans, certainly Micronesians.
For a better
future, I believe that there should be more language resources in order to help those who are not like native language to the English language. I think for like our Pacific Islanders and Filipino people, they definitely struggle with going into school themselves already and then not getting that support, and so getting a lot more resources for them to really transition.
For a better future, I think there needs to be more work done, like more cultural-based programs that involve, well, for me, my experience, like more STEM involved community-based kind of like programs where students on the west side can have access to those things. I've seen in engineering that there isn't really that much outreach to the west side schools like Waipahu, Kapolei, Nanakuli, Waianae. And I think there could be changes. So having students, I don't know, maybe doing programs to teach them about how to apply for college and how to understand what it's like living a college life and like what it really is to be a college student.
For a better future, I think we need more community involvement. We need everyone to care about our education, not just us. I also feel like there's only so much we can do as young, trying students, and we need a lot of help, especially from those that have come before us and even the ones that are still to come. So from both the young and the old generations, I think we all should come together and help make our education better.
Change does not always happen in silence. It is a collective effort. From policymakers shaping education policies to communities mobilizing for a fair distribution of resources.